Hello and welcome back to CADvent 2024. It is day 15 of 24 days of festive designs in Autodesk Fusion. For today, day 15, we are designing an emboss gift tool. So this little tool, you can 3D print and then pop a piece of card between it and emboss or deboss a festive decoration. I'm going to do it for a star, but you can design it for whatever festive item you want to do. Use some of the designs we've already used in CADvent, maybe a Christmas tree, or you could write a little note. So to get started, I'm going to create a sketch and I'm going to use a rectangle. Using my center rectangle, I'm going to do a 35 by 35 mil square. I'm going to finish that sketch and extrude it by 3 millimeters. I'm then going to create a sketch on that top surface and use the offset tool, so modify and offset. And I'm going to do an internal offset of -1.2, which is 3 times my extrusion width for 3D printing. If you've got a different extrusion width, you can set up a different offset. I'm then going to create a line into the end with those 2 pieces there. And this here is going to be my new square center that I want to work on. So don't necessarily use the origin of your part because you're going to have this little offset around the edge. Now, if you wanted to create a center point to center your design around, you can use a construction line. So line and then X on the keyboard is the shortcut. Bring that from this corner down to this corner and this corner down to this corner. And then you can create a point at the center of those, and that there is your new center point origin of your design. So I'm going to do a very simple star. So I'm going to use a polygon with that new design. Make sure I've got 5 things there, and I'm going to keep it on an offset there. And I'm going to keep that as construction lines there. And the diameter, you can just drag out to a size that kind of works for the design. So maybe 10 mil, that kind of looks okay. So I'm then going to add in some lines. I want to turn off my construction here and going from point to point just to create a very simple star for my design here. And maybe I might just delete that dimension and then just and then you can just drag that out to a size that you are happy with. I'm going to add in a horizontal and vertical constraint just to make sure my star is centered around that point. Once you've got your design that you're happy with, click Finish Sketch, and then you're going to do an extrude of the shape you've created, and you want to do a -1 extrude, but you want to add a taper angle of 15 degrees. It might be -15. And this just adds a little bit of a draft angle into the part for the shape that you are designing. So there we go, that's the basic shape of my design. I'm then going to do a second extrude, just show my sketch of that outer profile, and that's going to be 1 millimeter. And this is my point that will be able to line up the design. And that there is the base piece of my object. I'm now going to create another extrude from the original sketch that I had. So just hiding the body, and that's going to be 5 or 6 mil, depending on how big you want the top of your part to be. If you do it 5 mil, you'll end up with quite a thin part. If you do it 6 mil, it'll give you a little bit more thickness to work with. So we go, there's that. Now, if I create a section analysis, so inspect section analysis, and I'm just going to do that on this plane here, so pressing and holding and the plane there, you'll see that these 2 objects are fully overlapping with each other. So that one's the bottom one, but then that's just a square. And I'm going to use a tool here. So I'm going to use the modify and combine tool. And my target body is that big rectangle I've just created. My tool body is going to be body 1, but I want to keep my tool, and I'm going to use a cut operation. And this trick here is going to cut out in my second body I created the design of the first body. So we go, we can see that star shape there. So we can see we're starting to get a bit of a tool there. However, I want to add in a bit of tolerance. If I printed these, it'd be very difficult as is to create the emboss with this. So I'm going to create a parameter. So modify, change parameters. I'm going to set up a user parameter called tolerance. So this is my manufacturing tolerance, and I'm going to use a manufacturing tolerance of 0.5, but depending on your 3D printer, you may need to use a different tolerance. I'm then going to hide body 2, then going to hide body 1. And on body 2, turning off that section analysis, I'm going to use a press pull. Now, press pull can be used for various different operations. It's generally not good practice to use it when you can use a parametrically defined thing like an extrusion or a fillet. However, in the case of manufacturing tolerances, it can be really useful. So I'm going to create a press pull, and I'm going to select all of my faces on the top surface of the top piece of the object. So just spinning round and making sure I've got all of those faces that I want to create the tolerance of. So it's those ones, but it's also going to be this surface and these two here. So basically everything except the back surface and those two sides. And my distance is going to be tolerance. So start typing in tolerance. So it's actually going to be negative tolerance in this case. So click OK, and if I turn on that section analysis and go back to that view, you can see now we have a tolerance for that object there. I'm going to add in a couple of fillets. So on the bottom piece, I'm going to go around and grab all of those edges there. And this is just to make sure that the tool is not too sharp and doesn't cut the card or paper. So just adding in a fillet of 0.5 millimeters on the bottom one, and then on the top body I'm going to add in a slightly smaller fillet of 0.2 millimeters. So just selecting all of those edges there, and then a 0.2 millimeter radius on there. And that there is a very simple emboss tool that you can 3D print and use to emboss your labels, your Christmas labels on your present gifts. And it's going to end up looking something like this. You pop the paper between it, squeeze it together, and there you go. You've got a very simple emboss tool. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you've got any questions, please do post them in the comments section below. If you've liked this video, give it a thumbs up and let me know what you want me to do for the rest of CADvent 2024. I'll see you in the next video.